In the face-to-face class, we can see students' facial expressions and body language. When this signals that they are confused, we explain the topic a different way or ask different questions that lead to understanding. We make all kinds of adjustments based upon those nonverbal visual cues. In the online environment, we don't see the students, and we can't use those cues to know they don't understand something. What do we do? Without body language, the online environment presents difficulties in knowing when students don't understand the material. We have to depend upon past experience, monitor the discussion board to see what misunderstandings show up, keep a record of student questions for future use, and ask students to feel free to ask questions. Just as in a face-to-face class, students need to be encouraged to ask questions. In the online environment, it is easy for students to feel isolated. Many years ago, I took an old-fashioned correspondence course. I had no communication with other students who might have been enrolled, and I never received any direct communication from an instructor, even when I turned in assignments. Needless to say, I felt like I was operating in a vacuum and never finished the course. Isolation and a lack of feedback led to my motivation gradually declining until I quit completing and turning in assignments. Students need to feel connected to something to maintain motivation to continue, especially when there is no face-to-face meeting. Just as students in a face-to-face class are in a communal setting, a communal feeling needs to be established online. During the planning, I suggested having students introduce themselves with some personal information that they are willing to share, and the establishment of a discussion forum that I call the Student Lounge to allow students to create connections with each other. Other tools for communication among students and between the instructor and the students needs to be used to help foster a sense of connection and community. We need to be careful how we communicate when we use email, messages, or text chat. The text we type can seem impersonal or angry. In the first class I taught online, I received a message from a student saying that she felt bad that I was angry with her. At first I was confused because the only email I had sent had to do with an assignment. I had made constructive criticism about her work. While even after rereading the original email I sent to her, I couldn't understand why she thought I was angry. Even so, I sent another email to her explaining that I was not angry, but was trying to help her do better on her next assignment. Since I could tell she had tried to do the assignment properly, I used a smiling emoticon after saying that I was sure her next assignment would be good. She responded that she now understood that I was not angry and told me she felt better and thanked me for letting her know that I was not angry. We can encourage students by sending encouragement emails and by making general announcements that we are providing individualized feedback on an assignment. We can also soften the tone with emoticons. I sometimes send animated files and a message that praises work, effort, or gives encouragement. The first time I did this, I received an email thanking me for the encouragement as the student was feeling overwhelmed, and the message with the animation encouraged her to keep going. In Blackboard, we can use the message function, email, chat, discussion forums, and assignment responses to communicate with students. Outside of Blackboard, we can use online conferencing tools, instant messaging through Yahoo or Google, or use the telephone. In face-to-face classes, we often go over assignments and tests so that students know why they got something wrong. As we all know, students need to find out what they misunderstand about the content or where there are problems with products that they produce. Without this feedback, students will find it difficult, if not impossible, to improve their work and clarify their understanding of the content. In the online environment, this becomes one of the most important tasks as an instructor. Careful wording and detailed explanations about how students can improve a product is essential. When we detect student misunderstandings through the reading of the discussion board, blogs, journals, or other student work, we need to try to determine how best to respond to the student. Sometimes emailing probing questions will help, sometimes explaining the content in a different way, or providing other sources will help. If I were to pick the most important part of implementing an online course, it would be providing timely and detailed feedback to students about their work. Answering student questions is another form of feedback. We need to answer questions quickly and in a time frame that students expect. Don't let students remain in confusion. Always respond, even if it is with a comment like, "The dates for all tests can be found in the syllabus." Respond to each student query, even if you are just pointing them to the answer in the course. I use the questions to provide answers and sometimes additional materials to the whole class, especially when the question is related to content confusion. It is recommended that you respond to student questions within a 48-hour period. I inform my students that during the week I check email once a day and will answer then, but that I do not promise to check email on the weekend. In this lecture, we reviewed why communication is important in the online environment and how it is different from communication in the face-to-face class. We also looked at how misunderstandings can occur because the text doesn't convey what is conveyed in a face-to-face situation. Feedback on student assignments and to student questions was discussed as essential to creating an effective online learning environment.